Hey guys, I'm coming to you today because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about military moves. We are not moving, but I had one of my subscribers ask me a question about a military move, so I figured I would try to give a little bit of answers, even though it's hard for me to even describe. That being said, every branch of the military is different, but obviously there are similarities too. Um, so, first off, she says that they will probably be moving themselves and they have a baby and they're moving pretty far away. She said over 20 hours, and I'm not sure if she means like a 20-hour drive or what. And she says she's wondering about how to pack everything and everything like that. Firstly, I would suggest that you do a ditty move, which is DITY, and that's it's kind of like do it yourself. It's a partial ditty move, though. A ditty move is where you completely do it all yourself. You rent a whole huge truck, you pack the furniture, you pack everything, and then you have to save all your receipts, and then you submit it, and then they pay you. And in the end, you end up usually making a little bit more than you spent for your work or your effort or whatever. That's just the way that it usually turns out. And Brian, my husband, who's in the Air Force, his dad was in the Air Force almost his entire childhood, and he ended up retiring. They moved a few times, and when they did move, they always did a ditty move. So that's what he was accustomed to. What we've always done, except for when we went overseas, because you can't really do it when you go overseas, but is what I just said, a partial ditty move. And what that is you, the military gets their own contractors. They have contracts with local moving companies. And so they will send the moving company to your house. Obviously, this is going to take planning. You have to go to the TMO office in the Air Force. I don't know if it's the same with other branches. Traffic management office, and you have to set up appointments for them to come look at your stuff to try to get an idea of how much truck and how much time they're going to need to pack all your things. And then depending on where you're moving is depending on how soon they're going to have to come pack it up. If you're moving overseas, it's going to be like a few weeks before you're actually PCSing that they're going to come and pack your things. And then it's going to be a few weeks when you get there before you can get your stuff. And they have what's called a loan locker, a loan closet, on most installations where you can, when you go overseas, where you can get couches and cribs and beds, and they even give you wardrobes because they don't have closets in a lot of the overseas countries in their houses. Anyway, they can also give you dishes and silverware and pretty much any kind of houseware that you would want, but that's if you're moving overseas. Anyway, like I said, I would suggest the partial ditty. Have them come out, have them move your furniture. It's, to me, especially with the baby, it's just not worth the headache and the heartache of trying to make a little bit of extra money to have to move every single piece of furniture and everything in your house and have to pack it all yourself and unpack it all yourself. It's crazy. So I would suggest get that partial ditty. And what the partial comes in there is the things that you would like to have right away, the things that you need for the baby, the things that you need for yourself. For, I would plan on, how long does it usually take to get your stuff? Because what's going to happen is once you actually get a place and then you actually PCS and you actually get there, then you're going to call the moving company or the TMO office and you're going to say, I need to schedule delivery of my goods, my household goods. And so then you're going to schedule it from there, so it's going to take a couple weeks depending on the moving company and all that. So anyway, the things that you're going to need that I would suggest that you take on your partial ditty would be, for instance, if you are driving and you have more than one vehicle, then you are going to want to either tow one vehicle with the larger one if you can. Like say if you have an SUV in your car, you may want to tow the car with the SUV if you have that capability, so that you each don't have to be in a separate car and using that much gas or whatever. Also, what we did when we moved here, we did a partial ditty and we rented a small U-Haul truck, and we towed Brian's car behind the truck, and then we drove. So the kinds of things that I think that you should have if you're doing a partial ditty and you want to have enough to last you for a couple weeks, and make a list of this and make sure, and they'll tell you at the TMO office, make sure that it's separated from the stuff that the movers are going to be moving. Be like the crib, playpen, a changing pad. You don't need the changing table. Maybe a swing if it's small enough. Of course, diapers, clothes, toiletries, hygiene items, enough clothes, outfits, and shoes for you both to wear for a few weeks. Very sentimental, valuable things that you would feel more comfortable moving yourself, like photo albums or a safe or something like that. And housewares, I would just do one each for yourself, like 2 forks, 2 spoons, 2 plates, 2 cups, you know, whatever. What else? My husband and I brought our TV because we wanted to have a TV, and we also brought, I think, our Xbox so that we could play movies in it. And then, of course, we got our cable hooked up almost right away, so then we were able to watch TV. Our computers, our laptops we brought. So that's about as much as you would want to bring on a small partial ditty. And as far as packing things, if you do the partial ditty, I know that you're going to be highly motivated to get things prepared, and you know, you may be anxious, so you know, you're doing lots of things like way ahead of time before the moving company gets there, like maybe weeks ahead. I know I did that. Just relax. If you're going to be having them come to move the majority of your things, the only things that you need to touch are the things that you are going to be taking with you, your partial ditty stuff. Make sure that you put that stuff in a completely separate place. Maybe put it in a box and mark "do not move," "do not take," or whatever, or put it in a separate room where the movers are not going to go. If they are going to be moving you at all, if you do decide to do the partial ditty move, don't even worry about even taking pictures off the wall or things out of the drawers. They will pack everything. And when you get to your new place and they deliver it to you, they will unpack anything you want them to unpack. They're not going to hang your pictures on the wall or whatever. But if you ask them to unpack your boxes, they will do that. On that note, if they do move you and you have any damages, they give you these forms to fill out. I think it's a pink form, but it might be different for every moving company. There's been many times that we've had minor damages to things, and we didn't get our form in within 90 days or something after the delivery, and so we missed out on that refund or whatever they would have given us to cover our repairs or our damages. Make sure that if you have any damages, you take pictures of it and you file your paperwork so that you can get your money back. And if you are not going to be doing a partial ditty move, if you've already decided that you are doing a full ditty move, that would be you moving your entire selves, then you are going to have to rent a whole entire truck. You're going to have to get moving blankets, moving pads, stuff to wrap up your furniture in. I've never done a full ditty move, so I cannot give you any real advice on exactly how to do that. I have no idea. Same kind of rules apply, I'm sure. I mean, as far as you rent your U-Haul and everything, you then file all your moving expense receipts on your husband's travel voucher when you get there. And they may have some other forms that you fill out with you have to have like the U-Haul receipt. Any moving expenses are going to be covered, and your hotel stays if you have to stop, and your gas. They give you a certain amount of mileage and all that stuff, and they will explain all this to you in the briefings and everything that you're going to be either required or encouraged to attend. So that's about all that I can say about that. As far as looking for a place to live, get a realtor. You do not have to pay the realtor or property manager or whatever. The landlord pays the realtor to rent out their house. For instance, I'm a homeowner, so if we left here and I decided to put my house up for rent, I would hire a realtor to go out and get you to rent my house. So I would pay the realtor to get you to rent my house. You don't have to pay the realtor. So find a reputable realtor in the area where you want to live. Call them up, let them know what you're looking for. They can start sending you pictures and information online maybe a couple weeks before you get there. You may be interested and anxious to look prior to that, but that's not really going to do you any good. You're just going to be stressed out, and I know from experience, and the places may be rented before you ever get there. That doesn't mean that you can't try to lock into a place before you get there and get yourself actually set up. Before you get there, you can do sight unseen, or you can actually fly out, or like you said, you were going to travel out there a couple weeks before you actually move out there, I think, and that's perfect timing. Have your realtor set up some viewings for you so that you can go look at some different apartments, and I would definitely go that way. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to pay these people for their services. I wish you the best of luck on your move, whether you decided to do the partial ditty or the regular ditty, or you can do an entire, they move you completely and you just get on a plane and go, which you may not be interested in because you have vehicles, but they will do that also. So that's an option. As far as the providers go, as far as healthcare providers, I've got to think about that one for a second. I think it depends on the installation, whether you are going to be able to have a civilian contracted primary care provider, or whether you are going to be required to have a military provider. We live in a community that is a little far out from the base, and they actually have like a satellite clinic in my community with military providers, so that we don't have to drive all the way to the base. If you do live far away from the base, the installation that you're going to be at, and they don't offer that as an option, you'll be able to find that out through like I said, the briefings that you're going to be going to, or your husband should be able to ask his sponsor, which is a person at his gaining installation, that will give him information about the installation itself and everything. So would be a great question for your sponsor, or the TMO office, or you could even call TRICARE for your region. I think there's west, south, there may be north and east also, I'm not sure. But you can call TRICARE themselves and ask them if you're going to be able to have an approved civilian provider, or whether you're going to be required to make that long drive to the base for your healthcare needs. If you have any additional questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them.